What's going on, everybody? This is the first official live for the Specimen boxing channel. And I'm just grateful for to be able to talk boxing, man. Live and direct coming to you. But yeah, as the title says, let's get right into it. As the title says, we're talking about the Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez fight. And for this to be such a big fight, I consider this a very big fight. The media hasn't really picked it up the way I feel like it should. The fight is in New York. Um, that alone makes it easy for media to um, cover. Shakur Stevenson is from New Jersey, right? Teofimo from New York, right? Or not from New York. They be saying he's from Florida. I don't know. But he claims New York. You feel me? So why hasn't the media picked it up? I like talking about this aspect of boxing, the marketing and, some of the business that goes on to boxing. I don't like to get too much into negotiations and what guys are making because I'm not a firsthand source for that. I'm not sitting at the tables. I don't know these people on a first name basis. So who am I to, I would just be regurgitating numbers that I've heard from other platforms and other sources, right? So I don't talk about that part. But the media part of it, the marketing, that I love that, man. That's up my alley. And from what I've seen up until this point, Shakur has done more of the promotion. I've seen him on some podcasts and some different interviews. So he's made his rounds on a level to, let the people know what he's doing. And, they both had the joint interview after the initial press conference with I don't know what's his I think he goes by Mr. Versace. So respect to him for moderating that. That was a pretty good conversation. I did like some of the things that they got into, and that was cool. That was cool. But that was last year at this point. We're in 2026. The fight is 3 weeks away, which I feel like the fight date came upon us very quickly. Like from the announcement, from when it was made official to the first press conference to the actual fight date, it's been a very short period of time for all of that happening and going right into training camp. I'm assuming these guys were already doing some form of training, you know what I mean, before it was like really made official. But nonetheless, Teofimo, I just don't think he's going to get the publicity and the attention that he's looking for because of things he said in the past. Because think about it, he hasn't really done any interviews. Nobody's really hitting him up, getting them on their channel, YouTube channels, on their podcasts. Um, the more Ariel Hawani might pick up and, do something. Um, I think he's done something with Brian Custer last year. Shout out Brian Custer. But you just haven't seen a lot of him in the media. And I think that has a lot to do with, remarks that he has made in the past. So I really hate that though, because that's one half of the fight that is like, you know, where we're not getting your side of the promotion. Like, what are you gonna you gotta carry your weight in this. Like, granted, we're gonna get in the ring and fight, but when we sign that contract, we're business partners as well. So how are you carrying your weight as far as promotion and so we can make the biggest bag? All right. I'm not sure if this is on pay-per-view. If anyone knows, you could put that in the comments because I'm not sure at the moment. Is this a pay-per-view fight or this is just Riyadh season putting his own through the zone? I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that aspect of it. But it's definitely pay-per-view worthy, for sure. For sure. Definitely pay-per-view worthy. So I wouldn't be mad at that if it was. Um, so I want to do my part though and just, bringing some attention, some awareness to the fight, because this is a big fight. As media, I guess I can consider myself part of the media, bro. You're a media guy, someone that is covering the sport of boxing and things going on in the sport. Got to do my part to make sure all eyes on January 31st point to Madison Square Garden. You know? Okay. So let's move right along, man, because I definitely want to get into some of the breakdown of the fight. And this is such an interesting matchup. By God, it's such an interesting matchup. The clash of styles here is just so many ways the fight can go, man. So many ways. Now, I want to start off by saying this, though. This is the best opponent I guess you could say both of these guys have faced. But because I was about to say something different right there, but I want to say this instead. Teo has faced better opposition in his career in comparison to Shakur. And the moment is this type of moment, fighting a guy where a lot of guys are picking against you. I'm speaking on Teofimo. You are the underdog. People are picking against you, and no one really is seeing a way that you can win. This isn't the first time for Teofimo Lopez, and I think he can go to that place in his mind to where he blocks out all other distractions and he's able to focus and put on these great performances when the time comes. This will be the first time, in my personal opinion, that Shakur Stevenson is in a fight to where there is real danger. Now, I want to definitely come right behind that statement and say, in every fight there is a level of danger, because you are boxing, you are fighting, you are throwing punches, you are fighting another man, and any punch, one punch can, take you out, change the course of your life, by all means. But with the skill set that Shakur Stevenson possesses, he diminishes that level of danger because of the style of fighter that he is, right? Let's take his last fight, Williams Zepeda. People looked at that as his toughest opponent up until this point. And, I have to agree. But once again, going into the fight, there's only a level of danger in Shakur's mind, because I know how this guy fights. He only fights one way. So I only have to really worry about one thing. He doesn't really make crazy adjustments. He doesn't, have these different rhythms, different cadences that he can fight off of that gives me things to worry about inside the ring. He's going to come forward, he's going to pressure, and he's going to throw a lot of punches. Speaking on Williams Zepeda. Mentally, that's not a very challenging fight for Shakur. Speaking, the fighter that Shakur is, he didn't have a lot to think about in the fight. Granted, the fans wanted to see him, stand there and trade and get combinations off and be more offensive, because he doesn't do that often. And the fans felt like um Williams Zepeda was going to force him to do that. So he did do that. And granted, he took more punches because of it. Still was a clear victory. And, he had his way for the most part. But with that being said, coming into this fight with Teofimo, there's much more to think about. And I know in Shakur's mind at this present moment, he still hasn't come to a definite, or he probably won't even be able to come to a definite place in his mind to say, okay, this is how Teofimo is going to come fight me on fight night. We don't know. Nobody knows. Then that is the great part about this fight. Nobody knows. And that's just with any fight, about boxing in general. We never know. We never know until that night comes. But we give predictions, we give breakdowns for a reason because of the styles. We know how a guy, fights. We know what he does. We've seen him fight before. We know what he brings to the table, what he can do in the ring. And Teofimo is unpredictable. We all know that. He's unpredictable. He's unpredictable. And in one of Teofimo's biggest wins, right? 140, he fought the guy at the moment, what was considered the best guy at 140 and the ring champion, undisputed champion at 140 before him, Josh Taylor. And, going into that fight, we, once again, still very uncertain about what Teofimo was going to do. He wasn't sounding sure of himself and his skills in the ring. Do I still got it? You know what I'm saying? You having close fights with Sandor Martin, which some people would say, you might have lost that fight. You got outboxed that fight. Not a great kind of a stinker fight against Jermaine Ortiz, which I still feel like Teofimo pulled that fight out. But Jermaine did box well and make it difficult, And then you had the Steve Claggett fight, which I still definitely felt like Teofimo won that fight. But you took way more damage against a guy that most people felt wasn't really on your level. You walked out with swollen eyes and cuts over both eyes. So that's what makes people question on what type of Teofimo, what type of guy are we getting on fight night? We never really know. It's unpredictable. Now, going back to the Josh Taylor fight, you know what I'm saying? To me, this moment equates to the Shakur Stevenson fight that he's about to have because I didn't pick him. I didn't pick him because I wasn't sure, once again, of what guy we were going to get. And to me, Josh Taylor is a very strong 140 pounder. Easily should have been a welterweight. I really don't know why he never moved up. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a big 140. And I thought the size and the way he fights and the pressure would eventually kind of get to Teofimo. But Teofimo proved differently. And the unpredictability and the creativity that Teofimo has on the offensive end is he might be he might be top 2 or 3 in the sport of boxing when it comes to offensive creativity. And I cannot take that away from him. I won't take that away from him. There's one moment in the fight when he fought Josh Taylor, maybe about like the 8th, 9th round. It was later in the fight, second half of the fight. Josh Taylor is backing up. He's kind of, approaching the corner, and Teofimo hits him with this leaping right hand out of nowhere. I mean, he just literally caught everybody by surprise. Like, what? Like, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Like, he's just kind of stalking. He's approaching, and just out of nowhere, with his hands down, he throws his right throws his right hand, and it just completely catches Josh Taylor off guard, hits him square in the mouth, and it's just like, whoa. Like, so it's like, it's things like that that you can't predict that. It was off timing, it was off rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Like, things like that is what make Teofimo Lopez great. You know, moments like that. And if he can bring that to the table, he brings a big challenge for Shakur Stevenson. I don't care how great Shakur Stevenson defense is. Things like that you cannot really prepare for. You can't predict when it's going to happen. You can't time those things, right? And it's boxing. You're going to get hit with shots. So if Teofimo comes into this fight on his A game, aggressive with that offensively creative bag that he has, he's going to present real problems for Shakur Stevenson. Now, on the flip side of that, I'm going to say this as well. Teofimo gets too creative on defense as well. His defense, and that's the thing. It's cool at times, you know, to open up, bring your Louis bag out, get creative on offense. You know what I'm saying? Show me some different combinations. Work to the body, work to the head, come around the guard with hooks. You know what I'm saying? Step around, pivots, angles, all that. I love to see that. You know what I mean? And he has the athleticism to do that, but that same creativity can get you hurt on the defensive side. And, you know, really just breaking down, you know, what has happened recently. Teofimo's last fight, he fought Arnold Barboza. And is he a junior? I was about to say Arnold Barboza Jr. Why I be wanting to put junior on everybody's name, though? Everybody ain't a junior. But a lot of guys are juniors, so I don't know. But I'm not sure if he's a junior. But he fought very well. Once again, the offensive bag came out, but I think in the same vein, he took a lot of shots that he didn't have to take, you know, simply because his hands was down or he was trying to be too flashy on defense. You know, sometimes just having your hands up is the best defense. You will be able to parry and block things more efficiently with just having your hands up. And I don't think Teofimo does that enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you even train with your hands up? Because you are so quick to put that lead hand down, bro. Like, it's so frustrating to watch sometimes. And I really genuinely hate, and this is in any fight I watch, when guys take unnecessary shots because they're doing that extra stuff on defense. You know what I'm saying? So he's really going to have to clean that up. And I hope he's working on that on a level in this training camp. Because moving on to Shakur on the offensive end of things, you know, with limited output, is still a sharpshooter. He's very efficient and he's very quick to the target. You know, even with his combinations, you know, he does throw a lot of his punches straight, but when he comes around with hooks, his hooks still land. They're still very sharp and to the target. So if you're going to give these huge openings with your hands down and not give Shakur anything to really think about, and you give me a free reign to hit you, I can take that and maybe open up 2 or 3 shots. Now, Teofimo can counterpunch, but okay, are you going to counterpunch an elite defender like a Shakur Stevenson? Shakur not going to give you a lot of openings to counterpunch back. So what evens the playing field in this fight, in my personal opinion, if Teofimo gives us more basic skill, rudimentary defense. Keep your hands up. You know what I'm saying? Take the half step back when you need to. Use your legs when you need to. And you will be in this fight for the entire time. Do that with some good pressure. Come forward strategically. Be you. Don't change. Don't drown yourself out. Be you. Use your offense. You can really do some damage. I haven't decided on who I'm actually picking on the fight, but I'm giving like a brief breakdown on what I see at this present moment. Today is the third, or is it the second? Third of January, I think. Second, third. I don't know. But we're in the first week of January. We still have a few weeks to the fight, and I think as we get closer, because I do, and shout out to Shakur as well, man. I spoke on the promotion earlier. You know, taking it upon himself, taking it upon himself to self promote. And for every boxer that is listening, man, really, really hear me good on this, man. And I might even talk about this in a separate video. But you don't have to wait on your promoter to promote you. You have all these tools for yourself. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Threads, LinkedIn. I mean, it's endless for you to y'all claim y'all got all this money. You can hire a videographer, you can hire a graphic designer, get you some merch, get you a website. There's no excuses for these things. Promote yourself. So I want to give Shakur a big shout out on one of the biggest fights of his career, taking it upon himself to hire a videographer, get you some good content, good footage for your YouTube, so people, and not only the people and fans, but yourself can go back and reflect on these moments and this time when you were preparing for one of the biggest fights of your life. It's going to mean something 10, 20, 30 years from now, all right? And I think I'm going to leave it at that. I got a little loopy and off tangent in my breakdown, but I'm going to come back as the downloads come to me and I see more things. I'm going to get deeper into the breakdown as to, you know, what I see can happen and what could possibly happen and who my pick will be in the fight. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in to this point, my first live on Specimen Boxing. I hope to see you guys again. I love y'all. Keep pushing.